everyone, I'm FM Greeno and welcome along to the very first episode of my FM21 international save as manager of Hungary. This save is called the Mighty Magyars and I am hoping to restore this fine nation back to its glory days of the 1950s. So as you can see, we are currently sat in what appears to be a small serviced office in Budapest, presumably having just signed our contract and having been announced as the manager. So let's take a little look around and see what we're dealing with. So we have a little information here, background information about Hungary as a footballing nation. So our big rivals are Romania, and anyone who's ever seen any footage of a Hungary v Romania game will understand that. It is properly mental. Captain Balázs Dzsudzsák, he is a fairly well-known player. He spent a lot of time playing in the Netherlands and Russia. Moved out and played in the Gulf for a bit, but he's back in Hungary now, playing in the second division. Getting on a bit, so how long he's going to remain in the squad and as captain remains to be seen. You can see they've got a brilliant new stadium, the Puskas Arena. It was built for Euro 2020, about 68,000 capacity, so a really nice stadium. Current world ranking 53rd, we'll be looking to improve on that for sure. They have been as high as 18th and as low as 87th, so a bit of a mixed bag over the years. Most capped player here is noted as Gabor Király, the goalkeeper who wore his jogging bottoms no matter what the weather. I think actually him and Dzsudzsák are on the same amount of caps though, so I guess there's only space there for one name. And of course the all-time top goal scorer, Ferenc Puskas, a huge footballing name from the 50s, scored 84 goals in 85 games I think for Hungary. So yeah, not a bad strike rate that. Well, there's a little bit of information here about the current Hungary squad. There's a few names here you might recognise. So, Szoboszlai, he's the wonder kid of the team, and the man we're probably going to be looking to build a team around. If you've been following my Newcastle save, you'll know all about him, because I signed him in that too. Orban and Gulaci, the centre-half and goalkeeper, they are regular starters for RB Leipzig. So if you follow your Champions League football, you'll probably know about them. Bristol City fans will know about Adam Nagy. He is a guy who doesn't feature very often for you. But yeah, decent little central midfield option. Obviously, Dzsudzsák's not mentioned here. But Nemanja Nikolic, you may know a little bit about. He scored the goals that fired Hungary into Euro 2016. And there are one or two other names that aren't featured on here that you may know that we'll have a look at when we get into the squad screen. Let's have a little deeper dive into the players that are available to us. So if we start in the goalkeeper position, obviously Gulaci is going to be first choice. We have Dibus, who is a decent backup. He's the Ferencváros goalkeeper. And then players like Bogdan, who of course Bolton and Liverpool fans will know well, could well come in as third choice keeper. Left back, I think we're fairly well placed with Kadar. He plays over in China these days, but he's a good option there. And one of these guys will be the backup. Centre half, Orban, of course, will be first choice. And then one of probably Kecskes or Vinicius alongside him. Right back, we're pretty well serviced too. Nego is a good option, and Lovrencic is a more than able backup for him. Plus, he also can play a little bit further up the park, so he'll be a good squad member. If we come into the midfield, I think this is where we're going to be our best. So obviously, Szoboszlai we've talked about. He can play pretty much anywhere in the midfield. Attacking, central midfield, anywhere that we want him to play, sort of left or centrally. Gyurcsány, I think, is going to be a good option if we decide to play with an attacking right midfielder. We do have players like Zsolt Kalmar, who plays in Slovakia, who can play pretty much anywhere in the central areas. So he can play as a defensive midfielder, a standard central midfielder, or an attacking midfielder. So he'll be a good option. I think Szoboszlai here will be perfect to play out on the left wing if we go with that kind of system. We need someone who can kind of get in and around the striker to give a bit of support, because I think that's probably where we're going to be at our weakest. We have Adam Szalai as the first choice striker. His stats are okay, but if we go and take a proper look at him, you can see from his career stats, he's not exactly a prolific goal scorer. He's a target man, and we'd need to get players in and around him. We do have Nemanja Nikolic as a potential backup for him. He's more of a natural goal scorer, I suppose, but he's 32 and he hasn't really got any pace. So I think that's going to be one area that we might struggle a little bit. if we take a look at the current competitions we're involved in, of course, there's the Nations League, where we're in the second division of that. So we're in Group 3 here, alongside Russia, Serbia, and Turkey, all of whom are ranked above us in the world. So it's going to be a tricky group to do particularly well in, but hopefully we'll do enough not to finish in this bottom spot. We also have a qualifying playoff for the European Championships. So we will be playing Iceland in that. That's the semi-final. If we win that, we then go into a final against somebody else. And if we go through that, that will qualify us for the final tournament. And here's the schedule. So we're currently sat in the middle of July. Our first games are in the beginning of September. So it gives me a few weeks to get a little bit of scouting done, see if we can add anyone to the national pool. And then we're going to come back, and obviously the first game we have is an away game against Turkey. So let me get through to that, and we'll come and see how the squad is set up for that game. So we've made it through to the first game of our Nations League campaign. We are away to Turkey, and this is how we're going to line up for the first game. So we're going with the 4-3-3 Gegenpress. It's an old favourite. Slightly different roles to how I would normally use it. I'm using fullbacks rather than wingbacks, but they're attacking fullbacks, and I'm hoping they're going to come and overlap around here because I'm playing with two inside forwards. We have a target man, Szoboszlai. As I mentioned previously, he's not the greatest goal scorer in the world, so we're going to use Szoboszlai and Szoboszlai to get in and amongst around him and hopefully pick up some scraps from the balls up to him. Szoboszlai, we're playing as a Metsala. I want him to just have freedom pretty much to go wherever he likes. And then we're using Nagy and Shiga, which will give us a little bit more solidity in midfield, I think. Orban is going to be a decent centre-half for us. Kecskes I'm using as a bit of a covering player, just in case. And, of course, Gulaci is first-choice goalkeeper. We're playing him as a sweeper keeper, but with a defending mentality. I don't want him going crazy. Let's get into the game and see how we get on. And so here we are in Istanbul. National anthem's being played. I am sure Hymnus has been roundly booed by a passionate crowd here in Turkey. Just going to make a couple of adjustments here to what we're going to see. We're going to see the key highlights, and we're going to speed it up a little bit. And hope for the best in this game against Turkey. I'm not quite sure what to expect. Obviously, this is our first game. You don't really get any friendlies or anything like that. So, oh, that's a lumpy old throw there. And Saloi's got up. And after all the time I've spent saying he's not really a great goal scorer, he goes ahead and scores our first goal. Long throw in from Nego, who is not a great throw-in taker. You can see there's a lot of air on that ball. But he gets up at the near post. The keeper's out of position. And he nods it home. And so we take the lead. So both of our inside forwards in this game, Szoboszlai and Szoboszlai, were not in tip-top physical condition, so we're going to have to monitor them as the game goes on. The good thing about the Nations League, because of obviously the COVID situation, it's a competition where you're allowed to make up to 5 substitutions. So it gives us a bit more opportunity to change it if players are getting tired later in the game. Szoboszlai, oh, good opportunity there and a fine effort. Clatters off the woodwork. So Szoboszlai did he actually get injured just then? I'm not sure if I saw that. He's tired, certainly. We'll take a look at that at half-time. So, overall, it's been a fairly even game. According to this, Turkey had slightly the better goal-scoring opportunities, but the one stat that matters is the one up in the top left-hand corner. Turkey 0, Hungary 1. So, the guys don't really know me that well yet, so they don't tend to react very much to whatever you tell them at this stage. So I think we're going to probably give them some encouragement, maybe even with outstretched arms that we're pleased. And look at that, we've inspired and motivated everyone, so that's good. Let's go and take a look at whether Szoboszlai is injured. He's not, so I think we're okay just to start the second half. We'll just keep an eye on him, and I said Szoboszlai, both struggling a bit. I mean, you can see already they've dropped right down in terms of condition. Szoboszlai's not having the greatest game either, so we're going to have to think about making a change with him. An attack here for Turkey. Oh, goodness me. What are you doing, Gulaci? Getting beaten at your near post there. That's poor. What a disappointing goal to concede. And the left back didn't exactly cover himself in glory, just turning his back on the play. Not ideal, but okay. It is what it is. And now Szoboszlai is injured. Okay. So, we do have options to replace him. Kleinheisler is probably the best of those to come on that side. And we are going to take Zudzak off too. And we will replace him with... Do we go Lovrencic or Gyurtso? I think we might go Lovrencic, actually. Let's give that a go. The hour mark. One apiece. Corner here for Turkey, though. Nodded over. Okay. That's okay. I think I would probably settle for a point in this game. Serbia are getting beaten 2-0 by Russia, which is interesting in our group. Okay, time for a couple more changes, I think. What can we do here to affect things a little bit? So Szoboszlai is having a very poor game. So I wonder if maybe rather than taking him off, we'll change the position he's playing. So perhaps we'll take a look at him becoming an advanced playmaker. And Szoboszlai can come off for Nikolic. It would be handy to have someone who's with a bit better finishing later in the game. So we'll play him as a poacher, just so he's up and about and making a nuisance of himself. And I think we'll bring on Zolt Kalmar for Adam Nodge. Okay. 15 minutes to go. I think it's time for a shout. We will demand more. We've not created an awful lot in this second half. Just a couple of minutes left on the clock and an opportunity here. Headed away, but not to any Hungarian player. So that looked offside to me. Yes, that is offside. Bit worrying how that simple ball from their centre-half Soyuncu just seemed to evade our defence entirely. But as you can see, Arda was a good couple of yards offside. Gulaci once again did not cover himself in glory there, though. So that's a bit of a worry. Good clearance there from Orban, but unfortunately not to a Hungarian player again. Keckas clears that one. Nikolic picks up the ball and, oh, Siga, what are you doing, son? Don't score there. Oh, my goodness me. It couldn't have got much closer, could it? And we didn't cover ourselves in glory in midfield there either. But you know what? Before the game, I'd have settled for a draw. Coming to Istanbul, I think that's a decent result. Well, as you can see, the other game in our group did indeed finish with a Russia win. They beat Serbia 2-1. And Serbia are our next opponents, a home match in Budapest. So hopefully we can build on this decent start we had against Turkey. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode, a first little look at this Hungary team that hopefully we're going to have a long and successful career with. If you have enjoyed it, please consider dropping a like on there for me. It helps me get seen by more people. And if you've got any comments on this episode or the idea of the series as a whole, I'd love to see them too. Of course, if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. We've got a good save with Newcastle running concurrently with this Hungary save right now. And once the Newcastle save is done, we're going to have a journeyman called the Greeno Tour, which I think will be a lot of fun too. Well, it just remains for me to thank you for watching this episode, and we'll see you soon for some more action with Hungary. Hajrá Magyarok! Viszlát!